Okay, hello everyone. Welcome. Impromptu, I guess, episode 8. Just to give you guys an idea of like sort of what's been happening. As many of you know, I'm moving like in the next few weeks, next month. But I've been trying to think about like, okay, once things settle down, how I want these webinars to kind of exist or like what format. And I've been talking to some people. A lot of people have given me ideas. Thank you for those who you know who you are. And what my current working idea is maybe not daily, but like, a few days a week or when I can do something quick right after the market, like 10-20 minutes, maybe not even, depending on what's going on. Basically, what you guys have seen me do on the webinar, where I spend an hour going over, like in episode 7, I spent an hour going over like 2-3 works worth of action. But in this instance today, I'm just going to go over this week because I thought there was some yesterday and today there were a lot of like cool things that I wanted to share. And going forward, it'll be like, if I'm doing it, maybe not daily, but almost every day, every other day, whatever, there'll only be so much to recap, and we can just kind of do quick hits. And this will be easy for me because I'm just doing this with no prep. I don't have to prep. It's just my quick reaction to what happened in the market, go over some quick levels. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? Just I may take questions, I may not. And then my thinking is maybe a few times a month, once a week, when there's more time, we can do a longer webinar where we talk about more other topics. I can take more questions, and I haven't quite fleshed everything out, but that's kind of my current thought process of doing more daily or almost daily recaps that only take 10-20 minutes tops, so I can give out more consistent, more real-time feedback while not being a huge burdensome to me, because doing a full webinar, an hour, 2-hour webinar takes hours and hours of my time to prep, do it, all that stuff. But anyway, that's just kind of a quick idea of why this is happening. I'm gonna dive right in. So just to go over the last couple of days, real quick. Let's just look at the SPX here real quickly. We'll talk about the ES in the future, but I just want to go over, this is the SPX last 3 days. As you can see, we had some big movements overnight, and then here's the action. Pretty choppy midday. I mean, there was some big moves at various points, and I didn't exactly play right. I actually been not feeling the best this week. I think I'm just burnt out or stressed out about my move. Not even sick. So, like today, I actually, in the middle of the market day, I actually took like an hour and I just laid down because I was not feeling well. But anyway, let's go to some action. Let's go recap some action. And where are we? So today's the 23rd. So we want to go to the 21st. Okay. So if you recall, so let's zoom out real quickly. Give us the lay of the land. That's maybe too zoomed out. So if you ignore these lines, they don't really matter. These were lines that didn't really, well, actually I'll leave it on there. But anyway, if you recall, last week we closed, where did we close? We would, before the holiday, I think we closed right around here-ish, right? 36, right at 3,700. We closed at 36.75, I think was around when we closed Friday. So we were kind of in this range. And then, we had holiday trading. What was it, Sunday night, Monday, when we were on Juneteenth holiday. And during that sort of futures, action, and we actually drifted up during the holiday, right? So we ended up kind of breaking, if you recall, if you look at this chart, back, a couple early last week, we had this 38, 20, 40 to 37-ish, 3,700, 3,720 range, right? But then after FMOC, we broke lower and we had this, what used to be support, bottom of range is now sort of the top of the range. This was the end of last week. And then, we had sort of 36, 25, 40 as bottom. So anyway, early this week when we were still on a holiday break, we drifted up and went back over this range, right? So that gives us, this was Monday right here. So basically now if we zoom in, just so you have the lay of the land, let's go to Monday and let's talk some more nitty gritty action. So this was Monday. So yeah, Monday was interesting because this was kind of the pre-market action going into Monday. And, I think I even posted, various places online, my Twitter, where it was like, once we get over 3,700, especially 3,725, things get, at least better, if not bullish. We've reclaimed a big level. So now you got to kind of think, okay, we didn't fail at resistance. We actually reclaimed it overnight. And, when we did reclaim it, it took many hours and we didn't break low. We had some tests lower, but we didn't break, 3,700. So this was not Monday. Monday was a holiday. Tuesday. So Tuesday was interesting because you see pre-market here. We're holding. Look at that. We're holding 37.25. Make a higher low, and then we take off right at the open. And this is one of those trades that I'm still sort of struggling to catch. Where it literally just takes off the open. I'm trying to get better at scouting that, but usually I like to have like another, during regular trading hours, drop, hold, and then rally. It happens, fairly often, but lately we've been taking off, and that's something that I've been struggling with a little bit. Just in terms of I'm trying to add it to my repertoire, but not doing it amazingly. But here's the thing. This is Tuesday. Here's why I'm not too upset. If you had bought, I don't remember what the strike was, but if you had bought, what was like the 37.65 right at the open, I think there were like 5 or something. I think at best you were getting a triple. Now, a triple normally I'm perfectly happy with. I'm perfectly fine with playing, but as you can see here, this is when the open, you would have had to be in pretty much right off the open. Either you have to be like right in and kind of like hope for the best, or if you get in a little late, you're chasing, you're overpaying. There's not really a dip or any kind of like consolidation. You just have to go with it. And then people who have seen me trade, occasionally I'll buy things right off the open, but usually when I've done it in the past, I regret it. It's just hard. So even then, even if you had like roughly the best entry, I think once you got up to here, it was maybe a 3x because premiums were pretty expensive off the open. So, like I said, levels held and we rallied, but I'm okay with that, missing that one, because I'm looking for reasons to not get in the trade, and this was one of those reasons. And then we pretty much, after that initial first hour and a half, we pretty much chopped the rest of the day, between this 37.60. I don't remember if this was a level from this week or from a previous week, but regardless, it is a level. And then we just kind of chopped. So there really wasn't, if you're playing SPX or anything that's sort of index dependent, there really wasn't anything here. This is basically a 20-point drop with premiums being high. Like I don't even know if that would have gotten you a double. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, nothing really here midday or end of day. There was a little bit, like I know some people thought like, okay, well, this is sort of a classic late afternoon rally. You sort of fail right at high of day, or look at this peak right over, kind of like a fake breakout and drop. Yeah, you could have, this was what, a 20-point drop into the close. Yeah, you could have played this. It was just, once I get up to here, it was looking kind of iffy in the sense of, there wasn't like a clean, I don't know, maybe not a double top or a higher low. So I was looking for something a little more obvious. This was kind of took its time a little bit, and then it was choppy, and then even here you see it drops, but then look at this candle, it kind of fakes you out. And then this was right before the this was the market on close candle. So actually, this I remember now. We had a market on close. I believe it was actually positive by like $1 billion, but then so it had this candle. This is the 350, and then we sold off after the market on close. So really, most of the action was after that came out. And usually, I don't. It's risky, especially if you buy after that. So actually, now I remember that's why I didn't play it, because it was kind of most of the drop happened after sort of the point of no return, or the point I usually don't like to enter a trade that late. So yeah, really, if you missed the first move, it was kind of choppy. I didn't make a trade, I believe, that day, if I remember correctly. Like I said, I didn't like to chase that. So that was Tuesday. And then let's go to yesterday and today, where there was a lot I want to talk about really quickly. So then this is overnight. Oh yeah, that's right. Before Tuesday, we dropped a lot overnight. I remember this. We dropped a lot. And, I don't know exactly why. But then I guess around when Europe opened, we started rallying. Like, ignore this line for the most part, because this line didn't exist yesterday. I drew it this morning. But you notice how we dropped to about 3,700. And I have these yellow lines here. And basically these yellow to me, so purple usually are like strong lines. Red are like, they're still decent levels, but maybe not strong. Yellow usually means levels that were maybe former levels, or levels that we've tested, especially support levels that we've tested a lot. And like, I'm not looking necessarily to buy them. It's just a color, like it's like a caution color where it's like, I'm not looking to necessarily buy them. It gives me a visual cue. I'm more looking, I think this line was actually green yesterday, which means don't buy at yellow, but buy if you get past green. So it's like green means go, yellow means caution. So that's kind of how I view it. But yeah, this was yesterday morning. Overnight action. We make a higher low right before the opens. This is what, like 8:39. And I was telling people yesterday, I posted even, I was like, we didn't break 3,700 overnight. So you can't be bearish. Just like yesterday, or just like on Tuesday, a lot of people were getting bullish up here, but this is getting towards the top of the range. You see these strong purple lines. You can't be too bullish here. But once you get down here, now it would have been different. Say we opened like here, 3680, and then maybe we test 3,700 from below and then fail, then I would be bearish. But overnight action is very important because we never broke sort of that 3,700 area. Yeah, we kind of teased below and then made a higher low and then kind of, reclaimed some of these lines. I was very bullish. Yes, I was very bullish. But the problem again is, look at this, 9:30, literally at the open. This was my go line. But literally at the open, and you can see it on the SPX again, it literally, well, a little bit, not quite as like this, but pretty much it takes off again. Here I am again being like, I don't want to chase. I don't want to, all that. I don't want to be a hero right off the open, because even you see here, it did chop a little bit. Look at this. This was at the first 5-minute candle, it went, 25 points, but then it dropped, 15. It was still kind of scary because you're paying open bell premium, which is juice usually. So again, I didn't play this. This went, I think, 4 or 5x. It was a much better if you did play it like this. This was kind of iffy because we had just broken, but here, given that we had reclaimed 3,700 already the previous day and we never broke it overnight, I was very bullish. Again, I just didn't want to chase, but I wanted there to be, again, a dip or something, just give me a little something to get in a little cheaper kind of thing. But I was very bullish yesterday over 3,700. And then here, what was interesting here, yesterday in DC, actually, it started raining. It was going to start raining like around 2 or something. And I usually walk my dog after the market. But what was funny was, and I bring this up because there's an important reason, once we got to here, we hit these 3,800 area again. And a lot of people here, once we hit here and started failing, a lot of people getting worried, getting a little bearish, not for the worst reasons, but, people were like, oh, we double top, lower high. And I did see that. But what's funny enough is I've seen this all the time. And I actually went to walk my dog right about here. Because A, I needed to beat the rain because I knew it was coming. But 2, I knew if I entered a position here, I was going to be stuck in a bad situation because 2 things would have happened. I knew one of 2 things. Either we fail or we kind of chop like it kind of did, or it kind of gave bears a little bit of hope and then rallied, right? The reason on this day I had no intention of playing this double top, and the reason I wasn't sure of it was because look at this market. We rallied big. Here, we gapped down and we rallied huge and, over yesterday's side. Now, if we had rallied and maybe failed at yesterday's lows or like failed at this 3760 that you see as one of my levels, yeah, I would have given more credence to maybe a double top fit. But usually when the first hour is really strong, either just gap and go or gap down, I can't. And again, we're over 3,700, so we're in the buy the dip, trend is up scenario. I can't be buying puts in this scenario. A lot of times I've done this in the past and it's a trap, which it basically was, because this was it was like a 20, 30 point. Yeah, if you timed it perfectly, you could have made money here, but I'm nowhere near good enough to time that perfectly, because I would have never gotten in up here. I would have gotten in probably here, and then, so I would have bought here and then sold here. So really, even though this is a 30-point move, I would have only caught 15 points, you know what I mean? So like it would have been completely worthless to me. But yeah, I was not tricked here. I went to walk my dog, and then, we kind of trickled up, and for some reason I talked myself into that we could have broke. I got biased because I was thinking about a day from a few weeks ago where this exact action happened. June, I think it was June 7th. I'm not going to show it here for the interest of time, but if you want to look on June 7th, we had a similar action, early rally, kind of a fake bear trap, and then we just went for the most, not it wasn't straight up, but I was looking for basically a dip here around 2 p.m. 3 p.m. and just before 3 p.m. I was expecting this to go, which I really shouldn't have, because in my my comparison, what I was looking for, if you look at June 7th, was a higher rip here at 2. We drop and hold this morning high and at previous support, now resistance and rally. And it's funny enough, once we got to here, I even was telling myself and telling some people, man, I don't think this comparison, this analog's working anymore, because we broke below. It's not, and stupid me, I still tried to buy some calls here. I sold them for a very small loss, so no big deal. But really, but if I hadn't been biased, if I just hadn't been biased, where are we at? 3,800, big resistance level. Just like I say, don't buy puts at major support levels. This week has been at 3,800. Don't buy calls at major resistance. So don't buy puts at support. And here's don't buy calls at resistance. And what should have happened was, I wouldn't have gotten here, but what should have happened was maybe around here, and this started failing. It's kind of a head and shoulders, kind of a big head with a little, not clean, but a little head and shoulders-y. And we see this action all the time, where it's like you test, just like the day before, you kind of saw a smaller version of this. You kind of peak over or right around previous high, and kind of basically here you were trapping bears, here you're trapping bulls. And you could have gotten a nice play on puts here. I don't know. I think they went like 3.5 to 17. I don't think I would have gotten all 17, but this would have been a nice play. And the reason I want to bring it up, and I'll go to today in a second, and then I'll wrap up. But basically, this week, not my best week. It wasn't the easiest week, because a lot of the action was right off the open. But I want to give you kind of my thoughts on some of the mistakes I made, and also sort of what this could have been. And then so that was yesterday. And then overnight, what happened overnight? Overnight, we dropped a little bit overnight. We kind of chopped, but we held this 37.40, which is not a huge level. But if you zoom out, you see you see how these horizontal lines align. My big level is 37.25, 60, and then I guess 38 or maybe 85. But it's still a level, but not a huge level. But the fact that overnight here's the level. Overnight, we kind of held that level, which was fine. So then in the morning, we rallied overnight, early morning, to about here, 3,800 again. And then late pre-market, we dropped, and then I guess we rallied right to the open, which is here. And once we got to here, I'm like, again, we're at 3,800. I can't be looking at calls. But at the same time, if you look at this action, ignore what happens to the right. Just this is the open right here. Yeah, maybe this could be a double top or a lower high, but it wasn't clean. It wasn't fully developed. And you know what else I was thinking? Ignore this, because at this moment, all we saw was this. I saw this kind of maybe a double head and shoulders, maybe a double top within a double top. Those were going through my head. But the point being was, this was not the point to buy calls. And I was a little hesitant to buy puts. Again, I don't like buying right at the open. Now, if this had developed and we took off the open and kind of made a perfect double top and started failing, I would have been more interested in puts. But yeah, literally today after the open, for about 2 hours, we literally chopped. Like, this is a mess. Even if you were trading futures, not options, like, this is a complete mess. So I mentioned I wasn't feeling well, and I actually kind of woke up late this morning, and I didn't get to walk my dog. Plus, it was raining. I was trying to wait for the rain to stop. Whoops. So again, I bring this up for a reason. I literally I'm like, oh, okay, we're at 3,800. Looks kind of, I don't think anything's going to happen. The rain's finally stopped. I really should go walk so literally at like 11:15, I go walk my dog. And that kind of set me up poorly. I usually don't do that. It's just, again, this week I haven't slept well, haven't been feeling well. I was kind of off my game, and went to walk my dog. I come back and we're already like here. But had I been paying attention more, there's kind of, if you ignore this, because this was not very clean, but now we're getting kind of a double top right at the same level, double top again within sort of a double top, plus a tiny, even smaller double top right here, right at resistance. I was literally outside walking my dog, but this would have been an entry right about here. And I think it would have been the 3760s, and then you could have played it. I should have, if had I been here, I should have played it until this level, and this would have given you a nice, maybe not quite 3x, maybe like a 2.5x, but it was pretty clean for the most part. But I didn't get back until I think here, like right around 11:30, and then I even thought here, ooh, maybe I'll get another chance to get in. I was hoping for it to get back to here or even this support, but it didn't. And then it started dropping, and I'm just like, okay, I think I missed it. But then what happened was I talked myself into, so if you look here, so that's today. So we dropped, so I missed this, I missed this. We dropped here, and then we kind of started failing here. And I talked myself into, oh, it's hitting previous low of day, and maybe it'll fail, which is a valid thing a lot of times. And today I was kind of thinking, oh, banks were, if you look around this time, the banks were really weak. What was this? Banks were really weak. VIX was rallying. There were some mixed signals for sure. Tech was still somewhat strong. But really what screwed me was because I was just not at the desk and I got in late. But this should have been it. I even told myself I gotta, when it gets to my resistance, big resistance, I should have been just ready, but I was just kind of tired and out of it. But I basically sold my puts, even though I got in late. They went almost 2.25x. I really, once we broke below this level, my big 37, I really thought not only were we going to see here, but I really thought that this fast up was finally going to kind of have a similar down, and I thought we would hit 37.25. I really did think so. But that's what happens when you get in late. If I just got in here and sold here, I could have rolled and then got out for a little bit, but I would have made more. And I ended up getting out I didn't sell at a double because I wanted a little more. I ended up only making like 1,000, but that's fine. Once it bounced and kind of was choppy, and it started looking like it was gonna reclaim, and XLF and different things were looking to get, but I got out because I just wasn't sure anymore. And good thing I did, because it rallied. But because again, the first, and I'm about to wrap up because I think this is taking a little long, but had I gotten in the first trade right, it sets you up for the second and third trade. But because I missed the first trade, got in late, I'm late to the bear game. And then I was even saying to people this was my line in the sand, 37.60. And I did well by selling it around there and not taking that loss on the puts. But I ended up, because I wasn't feeling it, I actually went to lie down around here for about an hour. But when I came back, I was like, oh man, I saw this. And basically how you read this is the line. Now you could buy it once it breaks up here, but the problem is, you see here, how choppy it is. Look how many 5-minute candles go over the line and then come back down. You're basically getting chopped up. So for all you know, this candle would have done the same. So the real entry is we went over, we're consolidating here. Obviously you can get in here if you want, but once we hit a few consolidation points, we look at the time, it's getting to 2:30. Remember how I always say around 2:30 and later, that's when I start expecting potential moves. And it could be as late as 3:30 or later, but 2:30. And then so once about this 225 candle, once you saw that it was breaking over the consolidation, that would have been the perfect entry, I think, like the 37.85s or whatever. And then you could have held it. Basically, what I expect here a lot of times, exactly kind of what I was saying earlier, this down, one of my biggest plays that I usually like is when there's like a decent drop and it's starting to rally. I like it to kind of recover the drop that same day. So and it happens to be some big levels. So if you had gotten in here and rallied to maybe here, right to around high of day, that was a nice 3x. I missed it. By the time I got back to the desk or started paying attention, it was already here, and I missed it. But yeah, I wanted to just give that. Hopefully this was helpful. I just wanted to kind of go over, because the last few days, because there was a lot of, the opportunities were hard. These were not easy plays by any means, especially the ones right off the open. But at the same time, I'm trying to be hard on myself, trying to be better and learn. There were also, at least for me, also, as you can see, some missed opportunities. So I just wanted to share that real quick. If anyone has any brief questions, I think, about anything I've said specifically, raise your hand or write something real quick. But otherwise, I'm just going to wrap this up and post this. I don't know how long this took, but this is just an example of what I'm going to do more going forward is well, hopefully starting next month or August, once after I complete my move. But thanks, guys. Oh, what do I see tomorrow? Okay, that's a good question. Basically, so let's look again, big picture. So here's the. So first off, before I say anything, it's hard for me to say tomorrow because I don't want to get too much to think about tomorrow because there's overnight action. Like what I'll do, and I haven't done this yet, later on when I have time, I'll always readjust my levels in the evening and in the morning. And in the morning for overnight action, I'll look at my levels and kind of see what levels are important. I'll tell you that in a minute. But I can't say anything about tomorrow because for all we know, overnight we drop and we drop to, I don't know, 37.25, and that completely changes. You know, or maybe we drop below, maybe there's news, or maybe we rally. If we like, depending on what overnight does, like that completely changes it. But I will leave you with this. As you can see, zooming out again, we've been in this sort of 37, you know, with trend lines and different things. We're in this 3,700-ish to 3,800 range this whole week, right? So again, if we're looking here, I'll leave you with this. As you can see for the whole week, so right about 3,800, 3,805 is big resistance. So if overnight we get above the 3,800 area and consolidate for a few hours, we're over it. Not just like, I don't mean like at the open we hit it and fake bull, and I mean like some of the overnights I showed you, you know, like what was it on over the holiday weekend a few days ago where we broke over 3,700 and I'll zoom out again to show you that. Like for instance, during the holiday weekend, you know, when we closed like right around here, this basically considers all overnight action. We rallied and then we held. This was over like 2 days, held this. So you kind of want to see something similar because we're in near resistance. If we were to get a rally overnight, you want it to kind of trickle up to here and then either pre-market or whatever, you know, come from above and hold support and rally. So yeah, 3,800 area is a big level. 37.85, here's a line just because I might actually get rid of this line. I'm not sure yet, but you know, it was a high at one point. It's not a huge level. I think 37.60 is still a big level. There's this trend line that I'm kind of watching too. 37.40, you can see I explained earlier why it's low, and then obviously 3,700 to 37.25 is big support. So again, we're just in the range. It just depends on what overnight action does. Are we breaking above support and holding, or are we in the morning? Are we breaking above resistance? Are we hitting resistance and failing, or are we, you know, doing the same thing we've been doing the last few days overnight, where we drop overnight and then we rally at some point? So it just depends on where we are overnight, what levels it hits, and where things are at, and then, you know, as we get to, you know, 8:39, 9:30, where we're at. So again, these are the big levels to watch. 3,800 area and, you know, 37.60 I think is decent. 37.25 is big. You have this trend line that I'm kind of watching, though I might adjust this later. And then above, you know, if we do end up breaking, you know, 38.20 and 40 is kind of decent because that was FMOC. That was where we kind of failed. But really the big resistance is 38.55 to 65. And this is the last thing I'll do before I end. The reason 38.55, 65 is that was way back in May. That was kind of where we held, or, you know, one day we dropped and we held. And I believe this is also the bear market line, where this is the line of 20% drop from the, you know, January peak. So this is like the bear market line. So I think that's also big, and 3,900 is big, but 3,800 has been tough this week. I have no idea. I don't know if we're going to break it this week, maybe next week, but that's what I'll leave you with. Thanks guys for joining me. But this is kind of what I want to do a little bit more going forward, just quick hits like that. So have a good one. And thanks for joining.